Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Yo, once again, thanks for tuning in. You listening to World Combat Sports. Yes, indeed. We on this Tuesday, about to head into Wednesday. We one day closer to fight night down in the ATL. We have the one and only undefeated Gervonta Davis, a.k.a. Tank, going in there against Mario Barrios. And it's going to be a very good fight. I have it 50-50 either way. You know what I'm saying? I have it 50-50. But tonight, I want to talk about what I always review at least about 3 times a year. And is indeed the UFC top 15, baby. Like only I know how to do it. We're going to break the top 15 down from the bottom of the ladder up to the top of the ladder, shawty. Bottom of the ladder up to the top. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be black and crispy all across from left to right. Let's get this started. I'm going to give you the 15th to the 1st and the 1st to the 15th. And I'm going to start at the 15th because I got to talk about John Jones last. It's just too much information to give to have him go first. So number 15, my people, is Aljamain Sterling, Funk Master. You know. Number 14, you have Justin Showtime Gaethje. Number 13, you have Petrie Young, who is the former bantamweight champion title holder, in which Aljamain Sterling has his belts right now. And we're going to talk about all the controversy behind it. Number 12, Brandon Moreno. Number 11, Robert Whittaker. 10, Charles Oliveira. Number 9, y'all want to know what number 9 is? That's Max Holloway, the former featherweight champion who lost his belt to Alexander Volkanovski. Number 8, you know what it is, the former heavyweight champion, Stipe Miocic. Number 7, Juan Blachowicz, the current light heavyweight champion. 6, Dustin Poirier. 5, Francis Ngannou. 4, Alexander Volkanovski. 3, Israel Adesanya. 2, Kamaru Usman. And number 1, John Bones Jones, baby. So let me go back through the list one more time to refresh our memories before we get jumping on here. You know what it is. John Jones, number 1. Number 2, Kamaru Usman. 3, it's going to be Israel Adesanya. We can skip out of order if you want. It doesn't matter. But 4, Alexander Volkanovski, which is puzzling to me, but he's up there number 4. 5, Francis Ngannou. 6, Dustin Poirier, who's waiting for his rubber match with Conor McGregor. Indeed. But I just don't know why he's so high. 7. Yeah, 1 Blachowicz, 8 Stipe Miocic, 9 Max Holloway, 10 Charles Oliveira, 11 Robert Whittaker, 12 Brandon Moreno, 13 Petrie Young. That's Young, Y-A-N. I have a southern accent sometimes, so Petrie Young. And then 14 Justin Showtime Gaethje, and covering up the depth, the bottom depth of the 15 is Aljamain Sterling. Let's start with Aljamain Sterling. Why in the fuck is he 15? Why is he 15? The man won a title, defeated Petrie Young. Now, somebody on this list that's creating it, they saying to themselves, I'm not going to show him no love for that list. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? It's not worthy of him to get that, to be that high on the pound for pound list because of what happened in the fight. We're in the 4th round, and UFC have all these rules where a grounded opponent, it was 1 knee on the ground. It used to be 2 knees on the ground. It used to be a knee and a hand on the ground. Now, if you have a knee on the ground, you cannot land any kicking strikes to your opponent's head. You can attack the body, but not to the head, right? So we're in the 4th round. They're fighting. Petrie Young is defending his belt since beating Jose Aldo for the vacant. This is his first defense. He was getting the best of Aljamain Sterling in some of those exchanges. Jermaine gets in a point in a fight where he may have been breaking down. He's basically genuflecting in the middle of the cage on 1 knee. Petrie don't know what to do. He's just grabbing his head, and Aljamain's playing around, whatever. He has 1 knee on the deck. And then somebody in Russia tells him, Petrie, to kick Aljamain. So he knees him pretty hard. At first, I was on Aljamain for the acting job. I truly was. And I still am partially, because it just seems like, his emotion, his ebbs and flows. 1 minute he's dazed, the next minute he's crying, the next minute he's disorientated, the next minute he's crying. Well, what Petrie Young did was send a knee up his way while he was a grounded opponent with 1 knee on the deck, and he could no longer continue. He felt that he was injured from the illegal blow, and therefore they awarded him the bantamweight world title at 135 pounds. What does this do for Aljamain Sterling? Obviously, looking at the list, it forced people to say, we're not going to respect what we just seen. You know what I'm saying? You was knee. Okay, we got it. But when it comes down to outside human beings who are there to make a decision on what they see, everybody's not going to see it the same. So therefore, they awarded him the belt, but on the pound for pound list, they stuck him at the back. They stuck him at the bottom. That's disrespectful. That's very disrespectful. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because Petrie Young is the one that landed the knee to Aljamain Sterling. It wasn't the other way around. Aljamain Sterling didn't commit a foul and get DQ'd. It was Petrie Young. Petrie Young should not be in a position of 13 above Aljamain Sterling. Petrie should be at 15, Aljamain at 13. Get it right. They're gonna be fighting July 17th, I believe, for the rubber match, right before Deontay Wilder's match over in Vegas. So keep your eyes tuned for that. I felt, after watching it several times over, I kind of felt if Aljamain Sterling wasn't 100%, take your motherfucking win and come back another day. Because I was heavy on him. I was criticizing the shit. I said, damn, this is motherfucking Ivan Redkach all over again. This is pussying out. This is quitting. But he need him pretty good, y'all. He need him pretty good. So what's going on with my camera, man? What is up with you? Like, you tripping. My fault. I don't know how long my camera been doing that nonsense. It shouldn't be getting blurry. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to the game, man. This is top 15 UFC pound for pound. I'm just about done with the Aljamain Sterling Petrie Youngs because they'll do the step back in next month and we're going to settle the score. But if you ask me who I thought was going to win that fight, it'll be Petrie Young, right? Moving on. Number 14, Justin Gaethje. One of my favorite fighters, man. You know, he's been in there with Dustin Poirier and he's been in there with Eddie Alvarez, right? So it came up to a point where Justin Gaethje needed a step-up fight. Who was there for Justin Gaethje? It was Tony Ferguson. This was Tony Ferguson's opportunity to finally get that shot at Khabib Nurmagomedov. He went in there and got blasted by Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje put on a boxing clinic like I've ever seen as of recent in MMA. And he was very surgical. He broke, he bloodied, he battered Tony Ferguson and ended up stopping him. Stopping him, y'all. This was Justin Gaethje's opportunity to roll to the championship belt and become a champion in another organization. I believe his second organization outside of World Series of Fighting. Boom, he goes in there with Khabib, the reigning, defending, current lightweight champion. His parents is in the building. Khabib subs him out in 2 rounds. Triangle choke. It wasn't no boxing. It wasn't no wrestling. But Khabib did show compassion. His father passed, and he showed Justin Gaethje compassion. So he said, you know what? I'm going to sub him out. I'm not going to ground and pound and beat him to the dirt. I'm, a passionate killer. That's what Khabib was before he retired. You know what I'm saying? So Justin Gaethje, Showtime, he'll be back. He was just mad recently as to why he wasn't the one fighting for the lightweight title. And we're going to get with that when Charles Oliveira comes up at number 10. Just give me a moment, though, to break through the backyard, the bottom half of this ladder. So we talked about Aljamain Sterling, Petrie Young. Aljamain's at 15. Peter Young's at 13. Now Justin Gaethje at 14. We're moving on up to number 12. The man of the hour, Brandon Moreno. Did you see what just happened? Let me take you back a little bit. Let me scale it back for you. When Henry Cejudo, the Triple C, you know what I'm saying? You know what it is. He was champion in the Olympics. He was champion at flyweight, and he was champion at bantamweight. He was the last man to beat Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. But anyway, looking at this roundup with Brandon Moreno, having Davison and Joseph Benavidez fight for the vacant 125-pound title, right? Figueiredo failed to make weight. So once he knocked out Joseph Benavidez, he couldn't win the title. So, of course, Dana White rewinded and said, you better make weight next time. He made weight, knocked out Benavidez again. Boom, that takes him to his next opponent, Brandon Moreno. Very tough Mexican fighter, man. Very tough. They had a tough go, man. And people's like, hey, Moreno's testing this dude. This is a damn good fight. But he didn't get the decision, right? They come back in the rematch. No questions asked. Moreno subs him out. That's how it goes down. Now, the weird part about it is that I just told you that Moreno is 12th on his top 15. He just won his belt, and he's 12th. You asking yourself, if Aljamain Sterling won his belt before these guys, why is he at the bottom? He won his belt before Brandon Moreno. He won his belt before Charles Oliveira. You know what I'm saying? He won his belt before Francis Ngannou. Why is he at bottom 15? Anyway, shout out to Brandon Moreno for going in there, stopping Davison Figueiredo and becoming a bantamweight 135-pound champion, reigning, defending. You know what I'm saying? Good fighter. Keep your eye on Brandon Moreno. He's a good dude. But he's sitting number 12. Number 11, you know who it is. Robert Whittaker, the former middleweight champion. Robert Whittaker has been making his way back up the ladder to hopefully get another shot at Israel Adesanya. That is very important, or move up, however he chooses to do it. Robert Whittaker is one of the fighters that's called a class act. People love Robert Whittaker. You know what I'm saying? He does everything right. He could be a bigger star, but he doesn't promote himself as such. But he can fight. You know, and for them to have him at 11, I'll deal with it. It's okay with me. Let me get to some of these chats. What's good, everyone? Showing up for my top 15 review like, oh, only I know how to do. I'm the belt. Who is John still number one? He hasn't fallen yet. We're going to get to that iron belt. We're going to get to that right there, shawty. You don't have to, look, you don't have to raise your temperature. We're going to get to John Jones. That's why I said we're going from 15 to number one. So you and I can discuss that because I have questions too. Brother Boxing Talk, what's good? Annabelle, I agree with most of it. Part of Usman should currently be number one, more active than more wins in the past year and looking better. We're going to get to that. Solid points. Solid points. Brotherhood say Usman is number one for me because John Jones has not fought almost 2 years. We're going to get to that, shawty. Yes, sir. We're going to get to it. Alex in the building, salute. I feel like Usman might be ahead of Jones right now because of his activity, and the fact that he still holds a belt. But other than that, I completely agree. Okay. That's what's up. Aljo isn't the real champ in my eyes. He won the result, not the fight. Sometimes the results do win the fight there. You know, iron belt, that's what it is. The results win the fight. But we're going to cook on that. We're going to cook on that. You know what? You know, I don't have panels most of the time, but there go the link if you want to jump on here, iron belt, and kick this damn MMA. So after I finish the top 15, though. Are you talking about UFC pound for pound list, World Comeback? Yes, UFC pound for pound list. UFC pound for pound list for the men, okay? Volk is the only person featherweight who can hang with Max on the feet. I mean, he beat him twice. Absolutely. King Mitch, come back. What up, King Mitch? Patricio Pitbull is the best 145 pounder in the world. Listen, to say he's the best pound for pound 145 pounder, right? You have to look at if he's going to be able to win his upcoming match with AJ McKee. We know that's a beast of a match. One is undefeated and one isn't. But we know the one that isn't, he is the champion. It's up to AJ McKee to get that. See, y'all about to have me peeling back all these motherfucking MMA books. Just let me get through the top 15, shawty. Just one of my favorite fight, bro. Understood. Just had the wrestling, but not the BJJ. Moreno's versus Henry Cejudo will be a super fight. Mexican-born and Mexican-American. True. I like that. I like that. Let's get back to number 12. The one and only Brandon Moreno. I got to salute him. Good fight. And just like Alex just said, man, if he was to step in there and Henry Cejudo come back and fight, I still say Henry Cejudo gets it done. Henry Cejudo has improved leaps and bounds. We got to get back to Robert Whittaker, the former middleweight champion. He's working himself back up there, and look in the near future for him to step back in there against Israel Adesanya. All right. Number 10. You're probably going to touch your forehead with this shit. Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira just won. Look, he just won the most infamous title in the UFC because it was vacated by the one and only Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, let's go back in time when Khabib Nurmagomedov fought the top opponents before his retirement. And in that process during COVID, his father passed. Unfortunate for Justin Gaethje, he had the undoable task of going in there and disarming Khabib, taking his crown away. So let's just back it up a little bit. Floyd Mayweather went over there and fought Money Mayweather, right? Won millions. Came back over to the UFC. Wasn't going to take a soft touch. Boom, he gets in there with Khabib the Nurmagomedov. Finally, he gets subbed out, Fulcrum choke, round number 4. Then he takes a little bit of time off. Conor McGregor comes back and defeats Cowboy Cerrone in 40 seconds. So what does that do? What does it do? It sets everybody else up for a chance. He goes in there and gets subbed out by Khabib the Nurmagomedov. Now you have more people lined up to face the Nurmagomedov, right? Awesome. So you wondering where Charles Oliveira come into place. Before Khabib the Nurmagomedov retired, he fought the one and only Dustin Diamond Poirier. This was going to be Dustin Poirier's opportunity. He defeated Max Holloway for the interim. He's in the door. He's good. He goes in there, fights his ass off against Khabib, had him in a guillotine. And you know Khabib and guillotines, come on, man. It's like a turtleneck. You know what I'm saying? You know, he just had a little turtleneck on him, and Khabib said, okay, I got this. He ended up subbing him out in 3 rounds. The man is absolutely awesome. But Dustin Poirier had his shot. So you had Conor, you had Dustin Poirier. Now, you know, kind of moving up just a little bit to get to Charles Oliveira, I have to mention these names. You know, Justin Gaethje is back there at number 14, right? But just not too long ago, Justin Gaethje was in there with Tony Ferguson. The man displayed incredible improved boxing skills. He showed that he wasn't just this all-out, impulsive, erratic fighter throwing caution to the wind and act like he don't have no control over his what strikes he's throwing. He just go all out, you know, not really using his breathing properly, all that. But that night when he fought Tony Ferguson, he beat Tony Ferguson into submission. Oh man, it was a beautiful fight. I couldn't believe what I was watching with Justin Gaethje. He gets his shot. It's time. Justin Gaethje, he was undefeated. Lost to Eddie Alvarez. Lost to Dustin Poirier. Now he gets a shot at Khabib the Nurmagomedov. His parents are on deck, people. His parents is in the building. Khabib's father is already passed. Khabib takes him out in 2 rounds with a triangle choke and did it with ease. No ground and pound. No elbows. None of that shit. It was just straight up rhythm and motion. After that, what did Khabib the Nurmagomedov say? Hey, I'm retiring. We didn't take him serious at first. A lot of people didn't take him serious, but he ended up retiring. So that left a vacant belt. Now Dana White is trying to make some more moves like he did with Demetrius Johnson and Ben Askren. It wasn't a trade, but he brought somebody from a neighboring organization. Ben Askren, coming from one championship, brought him over here, not to fight Demetrius Johnson, but brought him into a different division and traded Demetrius Johnson to one championship. All right? So therefore, when it came down to Charles Oliveira being the number 1 name to fight for this lightweight title, Dana White decided to bring over Michael Chandler from Bellator. Everybody been talking about Michael Chandler. He had his ups and downs, been champion before. It was like, damn, what a great guy to bring over here and fight for the title. In the meanwhile, Justin Gaethje is like, what? Man, I'm supposed to be in that motherfucking slot. But they didn't look at it that way because, you know, Conor McGregor was subbed out in 3 by Khabib. This was a scale, a measuring ruler from Khabib before he retired. He subbed out Conor in 4, subbed out Dustin Poirier in 3, and he subbed out Justin Gaethje in 2. So when it comes down to someone getting a title shot, Charles Oliveira's been on winning streak. So they say, okay, why not? Fresh face. Put Charles Oliveira in there. Let's put Michael Chandler. He's coming over to the UFC. This shit it's nice. It picks up some buzz. You know, Michael Chandler, you know, we're talking about a lethal, predatorial octopus when it comes to BJJ and Charles Oliveira. He will sink in a submission on your ass quick if you're not careful. Then you have Michael Chandler, who came over here his first fight, knocked the fuck out of Dan Hooker. People going crazy, ballistic, and they said, yeah, this is the fight we want to see. We want to see Michael Chandler going against Charles Oliveira. Cool, let's see it. The fight didn't last that long because Charles Oliveira stopped Michael Chandler. I'm puzzled. I was like, I know you had more fight than that. Dude, you had more fight than that, Michael Chandler. He closes him out and wins the lightweight title. The first champion we had since Khabib started his reign. But Charles Oliveira is well deserving of that title. And I'm curious who he's going to fight next, right? Let's go on to number 9. Number 9 is the one and only Max Holloway. Max Holloway was a former featherweight champion. He was a good one, too. He faced Jose Aldo twice. Man, he was on a run until he ran into Alexander Volkanovski. And I already told you where Alexander Volkanovski's at. He's sitting at number 4. I was given top 15 lists where Volkanovski was in the bottom 15, y'all. Volkanovski is now up in the top 5, shawty. So you take Max Holloway, number 9. He fought Max Holloway twice. Max Holloway was the champion. Then he defended his belt, and they gave it to them, Alexander Volkanovski again. So if you didn't see Max's last fight, you know, he was really showboating showboating a lot, and he looked like he's been working on his boxer. And he was telling DC and Joe Rogan and all them, I'm the best boxer in the UFC. You know, I'm the best. Can't nobody touch me. And he was in there against Calvin Kattar, and he just made him look crazy. He lit him up. And that was a damn good performance from Max Holloway. I like Blessed. I like him. You know, let's see what he's going to do when he come back. But he's sitting at number 9. Number 8, of course, is Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic had went through an entire trilogy with Daniel Cormier, y'all. He went to an entire trilogy with DC. Knocked out the first time. End up stopping DC the second time in the rematch. This is what I'm talking about with rematches, man. Look, I'm not going to do y'all a service unless I tell you just a brief summation of how this built up. It was supposed to be a trilogy of John Jones DC, but John Jones won both times. Even though he popped for the second one, he clearly defeated DC. DC decides, okay, I got to get the hell on. It's time for me to go up to the heavyweight division. Now my boy Cain Velasquez is not fighting that no more. Let me go to the heavyweight division. He doesn't get a tune-up. He goes straight for the champion, Stipe Miocic. Crack. They had noticed that Stipe drops his left hand out the clinch. He cracks and knocks him out. Yes, sir. Done. Absolutely done. They come back for a rematch. Stipe refused to have a fight in between DC and his rematch. He goes in there and stops DC in the 4th round, I believe. That sets up a trilogy. He goes in there, stops him again. So now the big question arises, who's next for Stipe? He already, you know, you were looking at the ranking systems, right? And it's this motherfucking big motherfucker that's been knocking people out since he first lost to Stipe. That's Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou is right back on the doorstep. Dana White announces Francis Ngannou will face Stipe Miocic in a rematch. I'm like, oh shit. Let's see if Francis has gotten better since the first time. During that time, he fought Curtis Blade, knocked out Yadinho Rosenstruck. You know, some of his knockouts, Alistair Overeem, and it was just knocking motherfuckers out, right? He gets his next shot with Stipe and he stops him. Clear, concise, present. No ifs, ands, or buts, no doubts. he stops and become world heavyweight champion. Stipe sits at number 8, and he's one of the best heavyweight champions the UFC has ever seen. Why? I'm curious why, though. Why is Stipe Miocic sitting at number 8? I just don't understand why he isn't as close to Francis Ngannou as if he defended his title and he was multi-time heavyweight champion. But we'll see if it cleans itself up, if the matchmakers come up. You know what I'm saying? 7. Sitting number 7 is Juan Blachowicz. He's the light heavyweight champion. Now, everything about what Juan Blachowicz did, I liked. I'm going to tell you why. Juan Blachowicz, he had some losses in his career, like he was losing, and he started winning a bit. And, you know, all these big names was being recycled and losing and all this other shit. He was in a tougher division with the GOAT, John Jones, the light heavyweight champion. One of the toughest in the game. So he's working himself up, and John Jones decided to vacate the light heavyweight title after defeating Dominic Reyes. He went to a decision with Dominic Reyes. Boom, I'm out. I'm vacating. So what they do, they said, we're going to get Juan Blachowicz, and then they recalled Dominic Reyes because they felt he put on a good showing. The two met. Juan Blachowicz stopped Dominic Reyes in 2. That put him on the map. Boom. So he's sitting at number 7 right now, right? Okay. He then again turns and he fights Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is sitting at number 3. He fights Israel Adesanya and defeats him. Even though he was moving up from middleweight, he defeated him. So I'm saying to myself, is 7 good? Is 7 good for Juan Blachowicz? You know what I'm saying? Is 7 a good spot for Juan Blachowicz? Should he be higher? Because number 6 is Dustin Poirier. So should Juan Blachowicz be in front of Dustin Poirier? Come on, camera. Work with me. What's up with you and all this blurriness, man? So Juan Blachowicz sitting at number 7. I'm just curious because he's coming off a victory at Israel Adesanya, who was undefeated until he stepped in there with Juan Blachowicz. So let's give him his credentials. He gave Israel Adesanya his first loss, but yet that was his defense. Israel Adesanya was at light heavyweight to get the belt. He defended it and also gave Israel Adesanya his first loss. Should he be behind Dustin Poirier? Now, this is where this list is going to get real amazing. Because why would Juan Blachowicz be behind Dustin Poirier, who has never won a championship except the interim? If you want to say he was interim world champion, cool, we can say that. But somebody explain how Juan Blachowicz is behind Dustin Poirier, who has no belt. It's not like boxing. A lot of people on the boxing top 10, they have belts. But moving on. Number 6 is Dustin Diamond Poirier. This man is scratch and claw his way up the top 10 through the UFC. I mean, he has some top names on his resume, y'all. You cannot dispute the fact that Dustin Poirier is one of the top fighters in the UFC. But when he defeated Max Holloway to step in there with Khabib Nurmagomedov, it was his opportunity, y'all, to change levels, to elevate, to put himself in a whole nother stratosphere when it comes to being a champion for the first time. He's been fighting for the freaking champion. He goes in there, he tries his best. He thought he locked in a submission, but wasn't able to clean it, wasn't able to finish or seal it up, and he lost. So Dustin Poirier goes in there and beats Dan Hooker, another name that's up and coming. And then he goes in here I don't know, once again, how this ranking system works. He goes in there and picks up a win against Conor McGregor, right? He finishes Conor McGregor in the second round, and all people are talking about when Conor McGregor finished him in the first round back in the day. So Dustin Poirier finishing with punches. He lands some brutal leg kicks. He finished Conor McGregor and get him out of there. No belt, though. This is after Conor was coming back from Floyd, stepped in there with Khabib and lost. Then he fought Cowboy Cerrone and finished him in 40 seconds, only to step in there with Dustin Poirier and lose in the second round. But they have Dustin Poirier number 6 on the list, and I think it's all because of popularity. Real talk. Anyway, number 5, Francis Ngannou. We know Francis. Francis coming off his best win of his career. He just didn't go in there and beat Stipe Miocic. He knocked him out, right? So he's on top of the world right now, Francis Ngannou. I showed you the 3 kings, the 3 African kings. You know, Francis Ngannou, Israel Adesanya, and Kamaru Usman. And they're doing the damn thing. But Francis Ngannou will have a fight coming up on the horizon sometime or another, but it's no rush because he's proved that he could be champion and he earned it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think he would knock Stipe out in defeat the way he did, but he got it done, y'all. He's sitting at number 5. Number 4 is Volkanovski. It was a point in time Volkanovski was back in the top 15. I'm gonna tell you, the flyweights, the bantamweights, featherweights, they wasn't nowhere up on this top half of the damn pound for pound list. Like, this is amazing to see Volkanovski right in the mix at number 4. They put this man in number 5. I mean, the top 5, y'all. Volkanovski is this is what weird about this list once again. Volkanovski hasn't fought since, I think it's going, when's the last time Volkanovski fought? Early 2020, I believe. That's the last time he fought. Why is he sitting at number 4 if his last fight was Max Holloway in a rematch? Why is he so high on the pound for pound list, though? And look, if you asking yourself, then guess what? That's what I'm asking myself too. How can you be on a hiatus, but yet you're still high on the pound for pound list? Everything boxing and sports in the building, man. Y'all check out my boy Keon, dropping the hot boxing talk over there, talking that boxing again. Go check him out and subscribe to the channel, man. Yeah, I had to figure this out. I'm not sure why in the hell it's doing that. You know what I'm saying? I really don't know why my camera is not focusing correctly. This is not usually the other camera, my DSLR. I feel like Charles is the only 55er who has the tools to possibly beat Khabib. But I think he would crumble under Khabib's pressure. Justin versus Charles is an amazing fight, though. Alex, I believe that Charles Oliveira would be pretty decent with Khabib. Both of those guys have grappling, foundation, and pedigree. Khabib's sambo pressure is relentless. Not so much for Charles Oliveira. He is like a fly trap. He catch you in it, he's submitting you. There have been 2 to 3 people that caught Khabib in a submission and wasn't able to do anything with it. Justin versus Charles, that would be a good one, man. I think that would be a good fight. If Justin works on his takedown defense. Seriously. Because after all the speculation, we haven't seen him wrestling and all this other shit. He has to work on his takedown defense if he want to go in there and go against Charles Oliveira. Charles' BJJ game is just, it's just sick. is absolutely sick. Let's keep it moving. We at number 4, Alexander Volkanovski, y'all. He is the current reigning, defending featherweight world champion. He has defeated Max Holloway twice. We just wait for him to get back in the square. I mean, in the cage. So therefore, if he's not in the cage, he hasn't fought since the rematch. Why is he so far up the pound for pound list, though? Why? Why is he up there? Now, from Volkanovski, after Volkanovski on up, then it becomes a little bit of clarity. Next, at number 3, is the one and only Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champion, the reigning defending middleweight world champion. He was undefeated for a long time, former kickboxer. And to be honest, one of my critiques of Israel Adesanya, I did not believe that he would become a champion before taking a loss. And he absolutely proved everybody wrong, including when he stepped in there with Robert Whittaker and knocked him out, right? So he decided at this one point in time, and I spoke on it, I said, man, it would be great if him and John Jones fought. Damn, why my camera keep fucking up, man? Come on. You are tripping today. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with this damn camera, man? When did you ever start to get blurry? Hold on for a second, y'all. That's my fault. I'm not sure why it's doing that shit. But anyway, Israel Adesanya, the current middleweight champion, right? So what he was able to do was become champion, defeat Robert Whittaker, and also, he stepped in there with some big names like Yoel Romero, Kevin Gastelum, most recently Marvin Vettori. So he had fought Marvin back in the day, and it was a tough fight. But then he turned back around and fight him again in a rematch and beat him. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, and when it was this notion that he was going to chase John Jones, right? He sent the SOS to the people that he potentially was chasing down John Jones. So if anybody look at the body structures of Israel Adesanya and John Jones, they was pretty much comparing them to be the same. But John Jones is like, this motherfucker ain't me. He ain't me. I'm much more versatile. I have a better skill set, and I'm just me. Ain't nobody beat me in the cage. At that time, Adesanya was like, nobody beat me either. So what he decided to do is go up and do something to kind of bring John Jones to him. He said, let me go up to the light heavyweight division, for which he vacated his title, and fight the current champion in Juan Blachowicz. And that's what he did, and he lost. He found out, for one, Juan Blachowicz was every bit of light heavyweight. D-Ray in the building, salute to you, my brother. He found out Juan Blachowicz was every bit of light heavyweight. Took him down, with ease, ended up winning the fight and handing Israel Adesanya his first loss. But he'll be back, and he'll be fighting somebody. Who knows? Second, needs no introduction. And it's truly remarkable of what he's been able to accomplish, because I was so critical of Kamaru Usman. I was like, man, you're such a boring fighter. But once he earned the belt, took the belt from Tyron Woodley, he started putting on shows. He began to be entertaining. And right now he sits at 4 title defenses. He's actually one of the most exciting fighters going right now in mixed martial arts. And he's knocking motherfuckers clean the fuck out. He broke Kobe Covington's jaw. So Jorge Masvidal, at the time Gilbert Burns was supposed to step in, Jorge stepped in on short notice and lost a unanimous decision. So on the way out, he's saying that, oh, give me a full fight camp and we can run it back. And Kamaru Usman's like, no doubt, cool. If you believe it's brand new like that, cool. So Gilbert Burns returned from COVID because it was canceled. You know, returned back from COVID, and Kamaru Usman stopped him. They was previous teammates, so that match, you know, hit a little bit better, you know, a little bit deeper down here in the heart. So after that, Jorge Masvidal comes back around, and he gets blasted. And the only thing he can say, man, that was a beautiful knockout. That's the beautiful part of combat sports. I totally understand where he was coming from, but no, Jorge. People was looking for you to go in there and defeat Kamaru Usman. That's what they was looking for. But he lost. He was knocked out. But Kamaru Usman is deserving of number 2 or number 1. And why did I say John Jones for last, people? John Bones Jones is the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter when he's not even in the sport. Listen to me. This is going to go left and right, left and right. It's going to be 2 pogo sticks freaking batting the ball to each other. Check this out, though. John Jones has never been defeated in the cage. Y'all heard me say this before. His only blemish on his record is from Matt Hamill, from him just landing elbows. And at the time, the rules were fluttering around and people was trying to find out, okay, what's going to be the standard operating procedure? And some commission, I used to know his name. He went to an ice-breaking contest and he prohibited 12 to 6 elbows. At that time, John Jones was beating the shit out of Hamill, and Steve Mazzagatti, of all people, stopped the fight because John hit him with a 12 to 6. Now, a real man would have said, you know what? No, John Jones, he's good. There's no way I was coming back, which he said afterwards. No way I was coming back. But they ruled the DQ and gave the win to Matt Hamill. John Jones defeats Dominique Cruz in his last fight and won a unanimous decision. And he says, I'm leaving, and I'm retiring right now because he's trying to get paid more money. And he should. John Jones should get paid more money. John Jones is currently out the sport. He's campaigning for heavyweight. There's no fight scheduled for John Jones. You know, he's still with the UFC, but there's no fight scheduled for John Jones. So guess what? I don't get how he's still on the pound-for-pound list. John Jones shouldn't be on the pound-for-pound list, but I'm telling you, this is gonna screw some people up. How can John Jones get all this love in the MMA community after all he's did, and Deontay Wilder gets so much hate? Look at John Jones. We got to compare these 2 black athletes. That's why I do it last. We have to. Look at this, though. John Jones has fought in a single division just like Deontay Wilder, okay? You take John Jones' career, and he's fought the best. His resume don't lie. But he's also been one of those guys who has the lightest moment and the darkest moment. Popping dirty for peds, popping dirty for cocaine, curfew violation, speeding, hit and run incident where he hit a pregnant woman, ran, came back and got some out the car and fled the scene again. Okay, you get the picture. What I'm trying to tell you is when they was waiting for John Jones to return and they was cheering DC in the light heavyweight division, when John Jones returned off of a suspension, the fans start booing DC and cheering for John Jones. The MMA community loves John Jones, y'all. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are enamored with him as a combat specialist. Period. They are enamored with John Jones. You have a tall, slender, sleek, rangy, multifaceted striker in John Jones. Deontay Wilder, you have a tall, rangy, lethal striker in the sport of boxing. What John Jones has done in his career is somewhat similar to what Fury has done, right? He's been a part of the cocaine situation. Damn, my camera freaking doing that shit again, man. The fuck is up with you, shawty? Why do you keep on blurring out like that? I'm gonna have to fix you. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it for sure. Back to what I was saying. John Jones, man, he's non-division, and he's did just about everything, if not more, than Tyson Fury. But the fans adore him. The fans adore him incredibly. Incredibly. I think if John Jones decided to come into a boxing match over there, they would definitely like John Jones. They would definitely support John, no matter who he fought. It will have to be somebody tall and everything. He come over to boxing for an exhibition. John Jones, absolutely. But the one point I'm trying to make is the community. The MMA community still support John Bones heavily. They genuinely support him as one of the best mixed martial arts to ever grace the cage. In Deontay Wilder's favor, he's reigned longer than John Jones would with a title, with a single light heavyweight title, right? But he's defended his title, right? He's defeated like what 15 world champions or something like that. So both of these guys have their portfolio when it comes to their career. But in the sport of boxing, could Jones get away with all the criminality that he experienced over there in the UFC? That's a big question I always ask myself. Like, how can we be in the same country? John Jones is basically totally opposite of Deontay Wilder. He's committed certain criminal acts all over the place. But the fans, the white, the black, Mexican, it don't matter. They love him. But over in boxing, you have just the opposite. Clean guy, speak his mind, people's champ, stand up for his people. And the boxing community is different. Like the boxing audience is different when in response to certain criticism that they give Deontay Wilder. You know what I'm saying? It's a totally different realm that we're talking about when it comes to mixed martial arts community and the boxing audience. I believe MMA has a distinct community when it comes to that. Because how are you going to cheer on John Jones, who's been one of the most memorable culprits to be out here in the streets fucking up? But yet when he's in the cage, he's golden. He's golden. And people can't wait till he come back as heavyweight. I mean, dude has put on some crazy weight. So he wants to come back. What if he comes back and challenge Francis Ngannou? What if he come back and fight Stipe Miocic? Eugenio Rosenstruck, any of those fighters? People are going to come and watch. So always remember that. Those of you that's on the line, you know, you don't know what combat sport you want to support. You can support both of them. But like I say, mixed martial arts take a little bit of time for you to study it so you can know what you're looking at. And the top 15 list is a huge, from 1 through 15, it's a huge storyline of bullets that's in between. You know, you have to know who fought who they beat for the championship and so forth. That's how deep you have to get into it. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's going to be interested, but when it comes down to it, it's a very loving sport. It's very unique. D-Ray in the building. Alex, that trilogy was nothing but fireworks. 3 beautiful wars. I'm telling you, man, that trilogy, just how that it developed, it was supposed to be that way between DC and John Jones, but it ended up being different. It ended up being different when DC moved up and met Stipe Miocic. And incredible. It's a huge part of DC's career. You know what I'm saying? People look at him as John Jones being his alpha when he was at light heavyweight. To actually DC competing at heavyweight where he was undefeated before he even came into the organization. He was dominating heavyweight. DC is a freak of nature, Hall of Famer. He's one of the best to ever do it, y'all. D-Ray, great breakdown content. Appreciate it, my brother. Pigeon Mike Tyson, what's good? Silver TBE and MMA. Okay. Usman the best now. I want to see Usman versus Wonderboy. Should he beat Gilbert Burns? Would be fun for fight. Would add more to Usman's legacy. One thing I say about Stephen Wonderboy. I looked at him as being less than entertaining when it comes to fighting. God damn it, my camera is motherfucking off focus again, shawty. What the hell is going on with you, bro? So Stephen Wonderboy, damn, are you kidding me? What the fuck are you doing? What is going on with this camera? This shit is tripping. This has never happened to me before in my motherfucking life. Why is this camera keeps going out of focus, shawty? Hold up. Hold up, shawty. See if that works. Back to my boy Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I just felt that Stephen was a bit boring. You know, he had that, you know, in and out style, in and out, in and out, in and out, you know, land a kick here and there. This ain't karate. I know you competed on the highest level of karate, but this is mixed martial arts. So though he wasn't a slouch on the ground, he just couldn't do enough to win. Just like his fight with Darren Till. It just didn't happen the way people thought it would. They had similar styles. One of the most boringest fights ever. So for him to go in this against Kamaru Usman, using his range, Kamaru Usman, look, if he doesn't have success at distance with Stephen Wonderboy, what you think he's doing? He's going in. He's diving in for those legs, period. He's changing levels, easy. Money, man, that's not even important. It's not even important. We ain't talking about nobody ducking anybody. You know, that sounds like, you know, troll language. Who would duck Dillian White? This is a mixed martial arts, man. I don't know why my shit is damn, you know, not staying focused. I really don't. This is the first time this shit is ever did this shit. I'm curious to know why this motherfucker is doing this shit. Why are you acting like a hoe today? Why all of a sudden you want to get blurry on a brother? I'm gonna keep going. Please, nobody else tell me my camera's blurry because it's going through some shit. I haven't used it in such a long time, so I have no idea. I have to really check to see if everything's good to go, you know. Jones accomplished more in MMA than Fury in boxing. Absolutely. For one, he's defended his title. He's been champion multiple times. You know what I'm saying? Of course. Transcendent sports. What's good? Salute to you. So let's talk about, you know, and wrapping this up, like that we can agree that where John Jones sits at a top pound for pound list, this wouldn't happen in boxing. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't happen in boxing. It's no way possible that you're going to tell me this happens in the sport of boxing. Furthermore, we have to understand that the MMA community is quite different than boxing community. Those two, I don't think would ever bleed over and mimic one another's behavior when it comes to this sport, because the two sports are quite differently and they're organized differently. It's not too many people in MMA that can relate to working in an organization that's so wide open like boxing. They just can't do it. But with John Jones being out the sport and still being pound for pound number one, that's just absurd and preposterous a lot of ways. Like, that means he's not out the sport then. He's not out the sport. He's due to come back, and they're keeping him at pound for pound number one until someone beats him. Imagine that. Seriously, imagine that. Imagine if by chance Canelo was on pound for pound top list and he got off the sport, and he was talking about coming back in, about 2 years or something like that. We didn't know who he was going to fight, but they kept him at the top pound for pound list, but he's been out the sport. I don't think that'll happen in boxing, to be honest. I don't think it will happen, period. That's real talk. But at this point in time in his life, he's gained weight. He's been training with ATT, American Top Team, and he's still one of the best to ever do it in the sport. So he's one of my favorite fighters over there. Even though he's a slimy, grimy dude, he's a slimy, grimy dude. I love seeing him fight. I know he's gonna come in there with something. So let's see what happened. And once again, let me go over the top 15 pound for pound list when it comes to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. All right. Number 1 is John Jones. Number 2 is Kamaru Usman. 3 Israel Adesanya. 4 Alexander Volkanovski. 5 is the one and only newly crowned Francis Ngannou. 6, you know what it is. Unfreaking believable. Dustin Poirier, who's ahead of Stipe Miocic. Dustin Poirier is number 6. 7 is Warren Blachowicz. 8 is Stipe Miocic. 9, Max Holloway. 10, Charles Oliveira. 11, Robert Whittaker. 12, Brandon Moreno, the brand new, fresh bantamweight champion, coming off a stoppage of Davis and Figueiredo. 13, Peter Young, probably one of the most misunderstood champions of the entire list. You know what I'm saying? Because Peter Young never really had the opportunity to build his fan base up. They was just waiting for his fight to build up his fan base, and he ended up going through a circus act for which he landed the illegal knee. He landed the illegal knee no matter what you look at it. I was comparing it to Ivan Redcatch Regis Prograis, but no. That man landed illegal knee right there. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm telling Aljamain, enjoy that belt. And if you want to keep it, make sure you come back to the sport and you get it done. You know? Number 14 is one and only Justin Gaethje, one of my favorite fighters. I look forward to him getting back in the square. He had an amazing win over Tony Ferguson. Amazing win over Tony Ferguson. And he ended up getting a loss to Khabib, but he'll rebound off that. His only losses in the UFC has been against top competition. Seriously, top competition. Khabib, Eddie Alvarez, and Dustin Poirier. And then last but not least, one of the most disrespected champions that's on the list, period, is Aljamain Sterling, Funkmaster Flex. Gets no love. Look, he's a Rodney Dangerfield. Look, this is my last question to this pound for pound list. How are you going to place the former champion higher on the pound for pound list than the current champion? That means that Petrie Young is being rewarded for an illegal knee. I don't think I told you what an illegal knee was. Aljamain Sterling, one of his knee was touching the ground, and then the sole of his foot was flat. He was on one knee. You cannot land strikes to the head. You can land strikes to the body and everything. While his knee was on the ground and his hand was just whatever he was doing with Jan landed the knee to the head while his knee was down. It was illegal, period. It was absolutely illegal knee. So how in the fuck can you be above him on the pound for pound list if he's the champion? He landed the knee. Not Aljamain Sterling. Petrie Young did it. So there's no way you should see him at 13, Aljamain at 15. It should be the other way around. Jan should be at 15 and Aljamain at 13. Get it right. Get it right, Shawty. For real. Andrew Charles in the building. Salute to you. Get that shit right. Let me put my boy John Jones up here. You know what I'm saying? Got to show John Jones some love. UFC top 15 in review. From number 15, you had Aljamain Sterling, y'all. 14, Justin Gaethje. 13, Petrie Young. 12, Brandon Moreno. 11, Robert Whittaker. 10, Charles Oliveira. You feel me? 9, Max Holloway. 8. Who could tell me what number 8 was? Anyway, Stipe Miocic. 7, Jan Blachowicz. 6, Dustin Poirier. 5, Francis Ngannou. 4, Alexander Volkanovski. 3, Israel Adesanya. 2, Kamaru Usman. And number 1, John Jones, y'all. That is your top 15 play-by-play. Let me see if I left out any scandal. I think the only scandal right now is my camera keep on going blurry for whatever reason. I have no idea why. Alex, Dustin should be much lower, in my opinion. Dustin with no belt should be, with him being number 6, I still think Stipe Miocic, of all people, should be in front of Dustin Poirier. Easily. First of all, Dustin Poirier could be potentially number 10. We can put him at number 10 because he has not been nothing but an interim champion. So you're talking about Charles Oliveira's been a champion. And then you look at Max Holloway, he's been a champion. He lost to Alexander Volkanovski. you know, who defended his belt. You know what I'm saying? Took the belt and defended it. Then Juan Blachowicz, hey, you know, Juan Blachowicz fought Dominic Cruz and then defended his belt and gave Israel Adesanya his first loss. Yeah, I think Dustin Poirier should be behind those guys. Just shift up all of them and move him into the position of number 10 or 11. I'm saying he should. Because, you know, the reason why they have Dustin Poirier that high is because he defeated Conor McGregor, who at that point was number 15. How can you take Conor McGregor for 15 and give all that credit for Dustin Poirier defeating him when he was 15? The value is not adding up to moving up the ladder. The value isn't adding up. But it's a good point, man. It's a good point. Andrew in the building. What's good with you, Andrew? But, man, it's been a pleasure talking about this, you know, this top 15. As much as I want to talk about that Charlo, as much as I want to talk about this Teofimo Lopez scandal that's going on with them saying that Teo wasn't selling tickets, then he wasn't on weight. It's lonely at the top, ain't it? It's lonely up the motherfucking top. I mean, it was all fun and games till you got to dial in that fight. So we don't know, to be honest, if the fight being moved from June 5th, the time it was, you know, kind of messed up his body to kind of, you know, rehydrate a little bit and then drop weight again. And then all of a sudden, the rumors going out that maybe the tickets weren't selling or he wasn't on weight. I have no idea. I would definitely like to call up his pops, you know, and talk about it. But hey, check this out though. Tomorrow we're gonna have open workouts down here with the fight card that's coming up this weekend. It's gonna start. The first one should start around 6:30. All right. I'll definitely be there. Appreciate the ones who tuned in, man, and be sure to check out the media scrum that's going on from tomorrow all the way to Saturday, man. It's gonna be full speed running. Real talk. It's gonna be full speed running once again. And you know, I appreciate everyone for pulling up, supporting the channel, and turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. I'm out.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a past the doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world